All right, we are recording, so I will gavel in the meeting at 5:31 p.m. Thank you all for coming. We'll start with roll call. I'll go down the list, and if you can say your name, your position, and the final you are most excited about since it's finals week. Um, I'll go ahead and start. My name is Kai. I'm the Speaker of the Senate. I use he, him pronouns in the final I'm most excited about. This is the one I'm taking for tomorrow because I kind of low key forgot we had a final for that class. So, Candace, do you mind going next?
Candace Martinez Stone, Assistant Director for Leadership and Governance. My personal pronouns are she, her, hers. I am serve as SGA advisor, and I am not excited about any finals, but I will tell you about my most exciting final. It was in a class called Latin American Revolutions. And the prompt for the Blue Book exam, which for some of you know that is what that is, some of you don't, it's fine, was if Fidel Castro had been pulled up into the major leagues because he played baseball and he was a very good baseball player. If he had been pulled up into the major leagues, would the Cuban Revolution still have happened? Explain. And I was like, ah!
Oh,
So that was a very interesting final.
oh, Viva la Revolution. Thanks, Candace. B, do you mind introducing yourself?
Yeah, hi, my name is Beatriz Gutierrez Malagon. I use she, her pronouns. I'm the coordinator for leadership at Campus Life. I also serve as an SGA Senate advisor.
And what's a final that you're most excited for?
A final?
Whatever final it may be.
Like anything that's like ending?
And
I'm excited for this year to end.
2020,
Really
the worst
excited about
years.
that. Absolutely.
Absolutely. I agree wholeheartedly. Thanks, B. Erica.
Hello. Oh, sorry. I'm Erica, secretary, and I'm just excited that I don't have any more classes because I am done with those pop quizzes that some professors decided to have. So yeah.
Nice. Quizzes are honestly it for me at least. Julius.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, hello, my name is Julius Gale. My pronouns are he, him, his. I'm an SGA Senator, and the exam final that I am most excited for is my African American Studies exam because it just involves answering questions and no multiple choice and stuff like that. It's relatively easy. It's basically open book. You can't really fail it.
Nice. We love open book. Maria.
Hi, my name's Maria. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and um, I'm an SGA senator. And the final that I'm most excited for is not really anything, but I'm excited to finish my Spanish final today.
Ooh, I failed Spanish long ago. Hope you get an A. You will get an A. What am I saying? Mati.
Oh, is it me?
Yes.
Oh, that's what I okay. My name is Maxie, she, her, hers, SGA Senator. The final that I'm waiting for, actually, the one I took last week. That was my best final. The ones that coming up tomorrow, the ones that I don't know how I'm gonna do those two.
Ooh. Well, I'm glad that the best final happened, but the worst is to come. But you got this. I know you can. Rashad.
Hi everyone, my name is Rashad Devon. I use he, him, his pronouns, and I am the SGA president, and I am excited for my Spanish final as well.
Spanish. Oh. Back in Northwest, I failed it. Meta.
Hi, my name is Menda, and I'm an SGA Senator. She, hers pronouns, and the final I'm excited about is the one I just took. For my poly class, it was easy, so I'm glad I had that out of the way.
Ooh, I'm glad. Thanks, Nail Benet.
Hi, I'm Nail Benet, I'm an SGA Senator, and I finished majority of my exams, and I only have like one left, so that's pretty fun.
Oh, nice. Which for which class?
I finished my exams for Chinese, and I finished mine for my gender women studies class is like pretty much done. Oh, and my pronouns are she, hers, by the way.
Oh, wow. Chinese. I can barely get through Japanese. Thanks, Nail Benet. Patrick?
Hi, my name is Patrick Reed. I serve as a senator for the SGA. My pronouns are he, him, his. The final that I'm most excited for is French because it decides if I pass the class or not, which is like the kind of pressure that I just kind of thrive in. And I'm very excited to pass or fail it, depending on how I am doing that day.
The only French I've learned is ratatouille, so c'est la vie. Reese.
Hi everyone, my name is Reese, he, him. I was a senator last year and I'm applying for a position for the vacancy this year. And my favorite final that I did this semester was writing a paper for my metaphysics class about how I don't think that holes are real.
Holes are not real. Thank you so much. I can get into a long debated discussion on that, but I agree with you, Reese, wholeheartedly. Wendy.
Hi everyone, I'm Wendy, she, they pronouns. I'm the Assistant Speaker of the Senate, and I'm also looking forward to my Psych 304 Adolescent Psychology final.
Z.
Z, they, them, I'm a senator, and I'm not really excited for any, but the one I'm most looking forward to not taking is statistics.
Ooh, statistics was always rough for me as well. But if you need help with statistics, I can help as much as I can.
Thank you.
I see that Siri has also joined. Siri, do you mind introducing yourself?
Oh, hi everyone. My name is Siri Kiyaka. I'm the treasurer at SGA. Nice to meet you all. I go by the pronouns she, her, hers.
And what's a final that you are most excited for, Siri?
Most excited for? How about the one I'm least excited for?
Sure.
I'm least excited for my cell bio final this Thursday.
That's on Thursday, isn't it?
Yes.
Yikes. Okay, we'll worry about that on Thursday. So thank y'all for that. Let's go through this land acknowledgement from Dr. Lee, Jasmine Lee, stating, related to our value of inclusive excellence, we would like to acknowledge that UMBC is built on the native tribal lands of the indigenous Piscataway tribes. We acknowledge the painful history of forced removal from this territory, honor their history as cultivators of this land, and respect the many diverse indigenous peoples we still connected to this land on which we gather. From an adaptation from Dr. Jasmine Lee, the Director of Inclusive Excellence. Grazie, grazie, grazie. I think that's French. I don't know. So thank you all for that. Let's go through the approval of the agenda. Is the agenda to your liking?
I move to approve the agenda.
Ooh, is there a second?
Second.
There's a second. All right. And we shall go through the minutes. This is the minutes from last week. Yes, there was a problem with the recording. Apparently I had it all along. I'm not sure why, because that's never happened before. But thank you, Erica, so much for being very, very organized with these minutes. As there are no amendments to be made, is there a motion on the floor?
I move to approve that. Second.
And we got a second. All right. Is there general consensus? No. All right. With that, those minutes are approved. And these are the minutes from 2 weeks ago, the 23rd. Okay. All right.
I move to approve the minutes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Ooh, and we got a second. All right. Is there a general consensus for these minutes as well? I don't hear any objections. So these minutes are passed. Okay, let's move on to our first line of new business. Rashad, you would like to talk about WebEx Teams in the academic setting. I will go ahead and unshare my screen so it can be more face-to-face. And the floor is all yours.
Thanks, Kai. So, hi everyone. If you recall, I talked about WebEx versus Discord a few weeks ago, and this was actually a group that preferred Discord over WebEx. So I actually took the liberty of implementing what a usual class schedule will look like on WebEx and how that would be facilitated, just so I can give you guys a sense of what that would look like if this was implemented on a UMBC level. And I want to get you guys' feedback and any questions or concerns that you have about this. I do have a meeting tomorrow regarding this, so that's why I wanted to get you guys' opinions on it. So I'm going to share my screen very quickly. Can you guys see it? Okay, perfect. So as you can see, I created a mock little WebEx Teams, and it has all the different classes that I'm taking this semester. Don't make fun of me for our classes, but yeah. So these are all the different spaces. I actually went into in this specific space. As you can see, it looks like Blackboard. Right off the bat, it looks like Blackboard. It has all your classes listed, and if you click on a class, then it has a bunch of different channels on it. So for example, one for general, one for networking and questions, one for office hours, and one for SI Pass. And actually, what's interesting about WebEx Teams is that you can link different websites to it. So for example, you can link the Blackboard site, you can link different assignments on it. You can actually schedule meetings right on WebEx Teams, and you can schedule classes and SI Pass and office hours right on WebEx Teams. And it would actually give you a notification 6 minutes prior, or I think it's 6 minutes prior, 7 to 6 minutes prior, if you have the application on your desktop or your phone. And that's going to give you guys a reminder of, hey, you have an SI Pass in 6 minutes. Would you like to attend it or not? Aside from that, it also could harbor all the different documents that are shared. Like, for example, this is just a random document that I threw up there, but it's like, if there's assignments or anything like that, it just shows it on contents. And there's also whiteboard. I made a little thing to just show what the whiteboard looks like, what the whiteboard feature looks like. And the instructors can use this for, when they instruct. And they can save it on the space as well, and it's accessible for later times. But yeah, so that's the basic gist of WebEx Teams. I just wanted to see if you guys had any questions on it. I know you guys are familiar with it, but keep in mind that a student that's not necessarily familiar with it, what questions would they have? I'm not entirely sure how to stop doing this, but yeah. So I can. What do you guys think about this? It's very quick, but let me stop sharing real quick so I can see y'all.
This looks great to me. Personally, I think it's a great resource. My main worry is that I think we talked about this too in Faculty Senate, is that there's so many options that professors can use that students can sometimes feel lost on like which class uses which thing. So that's my only concern. But other than that, it looks great.
Yeah, no, definitely. And it's still there, right? The flexibility for different pedagogical approaches that the faculty use are still going to be there. However, we're thinking of ways to increase networking by asynchronous group chat for students. Now, there's a lot of platforms that we could use, but we're trying to suggest a platform that's easily accessible by everyone, that's easy to use by everyone. And the main two were Discord versus WebEx. So, I've used Discord for gaming for years to come. I'm not entirely sure. I know they recently implemented a thing where you can have video chats on it and group chats. However, that exists in WebEx Teams plus some more. So I just wanted to bring it up to this group because this group was the group that actually preferred Discord. I took this to Finance Board, and Finance Board said WebEx Teams would work for them better. So I wanted to, now that you guys have a better sense of how to use WebEx Teams, would this be something that you would use over Discord? I guess is my question. I want you all to keep in mind as well that WebEx is sponsored by UMBC, so that's also another thing that is going to, affect the decision making. But again, at the end of the day, it comes down to what you are all comfortable with.
I was just gonna say, I think last week when we were talking about this, I was leaning more towards Discord, but I think after you went through everything and showed how everything would work, I do think WebEx Teams, especially for like a new student coming in, would be a lot more better to navigate around. Because I know like for one of the classes that I'm TAing with, a lot of my students are really confused on Discord. So that is like a platform where if you're not like even just like a little bit comfortable with, like you're just going to be entirely lost. Whereas I feel like WebEx Teams, from what you showed, is like so much more straightforward. And Erica has a question in the chat as well.
Which all use this, especially since some professors don't use WebEx or Discord. So the way the university is set up, you can mandate faculty to do anything, right? This is basically going to be a recommendation from the university to incorporate some networking opportunities for students. Because if you're going to class and everyone has their cameras off, and it's just like a Zoom meeting or a WebEx meeting, you're not going to have opportunities to talk to people and get to know them. So we're trying to set up different spaces outside of a classroom for students to network and get that. But again, none of this is going to be mandated. It's just going to be a recommendation from the university to faculty. Any other feedback regarding this? Thank you so much for that, Mariah. I think that was amazing. I will definitely take a note of that.
Yeah, so for professors who maybe don't have a TA and they don't really know how to set these up, how would we be putting together these WebEx teams or Discord servers? Like, is there someone who could help them with that?
Yeah, so the Pivot program and the Portfolio program is also going to, be going on to the spring semester as well. So if this ends up being a recommendation, it's going to, I'm assuming, again, this is not good. I don't know what the right way from the university is when they recommend things to faculty, but I'm assuming it's going to be a new video or two on Pivot that explains the use of the WebEx Teams to them.
So for Folio, I just had a meeting with them this afternoon, and I'm going to send this link in the chat. So a couple people in a subcommittee, we made a guide for student engagement. And if you look at 7C, they start talking a little bit about some asynchronous options. And right now it looks like we're leaving this up to a professor's discretion. So there's just a bunch of different options right now. Are you suggesting that we recommend one application so that classrooms are more uniform?
Yes, I think that's going to be less confusing for the students if you have 20 different platforms that you're jumping on, like Panapto, Blackboard, Discord, for asynchronous things. I think having one application, well, that's my personal opinion. I think having one application across the board is going to help everything. And as you saw, I think WebEx Teams does allow you that flexibility because you can create different teams and it looks just like Blackboard. The first page is just going to be like the Blackboard. You have different classes that you can choose. So I think that's the easiest way. And that's why we've been trying to push this for so long. I feel like a poster child for WebEx Team. Oh my God. But yeah, it is the easiest in my opinion. And I do realize that, it's up to the faculty discretion, but if the university were to recommend one platform for everyone to use, I think WebEx Teams would be the one. But again, it's up to you all if you think that that's the best one or not. Yes, Candace.
Looking at this document that Wendy shared, I find it odd that WebEx Teams isn't mentioned in even any of the ones that are mentioned, right? Like it says Discord, GroupMe, WhatsApp, GatherTown, Piazza, Kahoot, but WebEx Teams isn't mentioned there. So maybe that's something for you to take back to the group, Wendy. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. And another thing that I've mentioned this before too, but another thing that comes with WebEx Team, since we have a partnership with them, is that you can look up anyone and you can directly message anyone from UMBC as long as you have their name. And I think that's a pro that doesn't necessarily come with any other of the platforms that we use. And I think it's going to be really beneficial to the students if they have that ability. But awesome. That's all I had. If you guys don't have any other questions or concerns, my meeting is tomorrow. And if you guys think of any other feedback regarding WebEx Teams versus Discord or any other platform that you think would be beneficial for faculty to use in the classroom setting, just reach out to me and I'll make those recommendations tomorrow. But I appreciate y'all.
Thanks, Rashad. And yeah, we'll definitely keep you updated on the WebEx Teams group chat. Okay, if that's all for now, we can move on to our next line item. Let me share my screen again. And I believe this is for the student activity fee reduction for the upcoming spring semester. So like the fall semester where we did a 50% reduction fee, I believe this is the same thing, but for the upcoming spring semester. Hope you all had a chance to look at this before, but are there any thoughts on this?
I can give some more context as to the reasoning behind 50%. So this is just to stay in line with what we did last semester, because next semester is going to be pretty much the same as this semester. And also to stay in line with the other reductions that are happening across the board.
Right. Right. I mean, I'm all for it, and this will affect the budget for next semester, which is our next line item for the revised spring budget. Yeah, I'm all for it. I think this is the right step to go forward in. I hope other colleges and universities do the same.
I had a really quick question. So,
yeah.
Remember how I think like it was last week where UMD released
Yeah.
So did that come from like they didn't reduce their student activity fee, so they just like gave it all out at once? Okay.
To my
all right, yeah, that was just something I wanted to bring up.
Yeah. I'll invite Candace to speak a little bit more about that because she I think she knows.
Yeah, my understanding is College Park SGA was not either given the option or allowed to reduce their fee because other areas of campus were not reducing their fees. And obviously that would cause some type of conflict. The question of why can one area reduce their fee, but other areas can't reduce their fee. And so the Student Government Association ended up with a bucket of money, right? Because they haven't been spending anything. They haven't had student organizations, just like you all haven't had a lot of student organization activity. There have been limited in the kinds of in-person activities that can be attended and even funded. And so they are now giving this money out. I would argue that you have done that already, just on the front end, right? You've given everyone a reduction. And if you recall, in the beginning of the year, it was noted that students were paying less overall this year than they did last year because almost every fee was if not all, every fee, I can't remember, was reduced. Some fees not collected at all, right? Your parking fee wasn't, your transportation fee wasn't collected at all. Was your athletics fee collected? No, your athletics fee wasn't collected. And by the way, you have the highest athletics fee in the system. So all students received the benefit of that. College Park is sort of having to figure this out on the back end of what to do with this money while you all figured it out on the front end. Oh, Patrick, that's on the record. I'm not going to say it.
Can I just say something just for the people who have not been made aware? We actually pay for every student athlete to attend this school their entire tuition. That's all. I'm going to drop that, and I'm going to mute again, and we're going to go back to where.
That's not true. Not every student athlete is a scholarship athlete.
That's fair. Thank you.
There you go.
Wow, I never knew that about the athletics program. But going back to the student activity fee reduction, thanks Candice for the College Park update. And yeah, are there any more thoughts? I don't know, Siri. Do you have any? Do you want to have any words about this since you are our treasurer?
Yeah, I think Rashad pretty much covered it all, but yeah, we're also like following what other orgs are doing with the 50%. We felt it makes sense to also keep it pretty uniform, and since we did it in the the fall time, sorry, I figured we should do it in the spring since it's pretty much the same online mode happening. And we haven't, like, a lot of people haven't been requesting as much money from like Sahas, so it wouldn't make sense to really like charge them full price while they're not really, doing any really in-person activities or getting that much money back. It just seems like the most fair thing to do.
Yeah, I also agree. Okay, I don't want to make this roundabout, so this discussion roundabout. So, is there a motion on the floor?
I move to approve JL 17-2021.
Second.
There's a second. Okay. And number of senators for, could you please type aye in the chat? I forgot to make the poll. My apologies. Okay, so that's
I think that's everyone, Kai. So we have 9.
9. I can't count. Okay, so number of senators for is 9, 0 are opposed, 0 abstaining, 0 not present, and with that, this passes the Senate. Yay. And I believe tomorrow this will go through Finance Board. And then up next is the approval for the revised budget for the spring semester. Siri or Rashad, would you all like to give like a rundown of highlights on this?
Sure. So I can start, and then Siri and Candace, if I Siri, you want to start? You can go.
Sorry, I'm like on my phone, so I'm like kind of trying to see it. Actually, Rashad, can you start? I'm gonna switch to my laptop.
Sure. So, if you want to take a look at attachment A, Kai, that's going to highlight all the different. Yeah. So basically, we had to do a lot of reducing, and I'm honestly impressed by how much we were able to cut out of our budget. As you can see on the different expenses that we had, the biggest cut was done in organizational allocations, and that came from SCB, our own pod that we had for different organizations, and different campus partners that we had. We were originally allocating money to. So we revisited some of those allocations and we asked for reductions, and we came up with $420,000 reduction, which is quite impressive, honestly. And there's the retriever, the money that goes to the retriever, SCB, and all that. And then we also made some cuts to our own operations. As you can see, it's cut almost by half, and that everything else that stayed was necessary to stay because of the different things that we need to in order to stay operational. As you can see, the only thing that kind of increased was the salaries and stipends, and that's to basically hire the team members that we need to to support us in the ways that we need it. For example, the communications needed an extra person, coordinating marketing strategy, and this is where that extra money is coming from. Pardon me, give me 1 second. But aside from that, sorry about that. But aside from that, co-sponsorships were reduced, development and training were reduced, and we basically cut everywhere that we could. And we felt as if we were cutting anything more, it would basically hurt the integrity of our budget and our operations. And I'm not gonna go over every single cut that we made because it's quite a lot, but the attachments are on there and they basically go over the subtotals and where each specific reduction was made. So if you all have any questions, I will answer them. And if Siri or Candace, if I miss anything, you can jump in and fill in those gaps for me.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, honestly about questions, but just a brief overview how we kind of did the budget. Me, Rashad, and Candace met. We reviewed our finances for last year. I had my TST team calculate all the expenses for stipends and other administrative fees, and just so we can get a idea of how much we spent this semester, and we use that number to start going in and cutting the budget. We also cut our internal fees, what we thought we don't really need, and we cut it as low as possible without Rashad saying just bleeding ourselves dry. And then from there we started looking at other orgs we give money to, and then we just emailed them, asked for their budget for the spring, and then we used that number to cut our budget again. And then I think the last thing, or maybe it was, yeah, the only other thing we had to really do was decide what number would be good for our organizational budget, which we decided on a number. I think we just pretty much went based off how much we've spent so far, and then added a bit of fluff to it for spring. But that's pretty much the gist of how we made our budget, if you guys were wondering. But any questions?
Yeah, and I would like to apologize. The format is kind of janky now that I look at it, but it should give you a brief idea of what it's supposed to look like. And I invite you all to ask all the questions that you can. Again, this is very, very important stuff, so any questions are encouraged. Grill us, by all means.
Initially, I was kind of concerned about the reduction in the election board stipends, but after speaking to nominating committee about reducing a position so that way the stipend is more even and aligned from previous years, I'm not as concerned with the election board reduction anymore. And that is my thought on that.
Yeah, and just to give a brief sense of what a little bit more detail about what Kai is talking about. So election board members were originally supposed to be 7. They were reduced to 5, and then we reduced it to 4 again, but we increased the stipends for each election board member that's confirmed.
Right, and we do have a confirmation after this, so. Rashad, I do have a question about the Black and Gold Fund. Is that coming from, does that come out of the budget, or is this just promoting? Like I see right here, promotion.
No, so the State Black and Gold Fund was an initiative for SGA a few years ago, and it's now ever since been housed under the Office of Institutional Advancement. And if I'm not mistaken, it takes a few years for all line items to be taken out of our budget. So that's why it's still there, but it's not operational, if that makes any sense.
It does. Sad to see about the stress-free zone, but are there any other opinions? I like to hear some of y'all's thoughts, because it is a little important. Maybe.
For reducing the election board from 5 to 4, do you think that would significantly impact the current members' workloads? Do you think they would still have it be manageable?
Yeah, so based on the conversation that I've had with Caleb, and Caleb was the election chair last year, he is anticipating actually a lower workload for everyone since everything is virtual. And they're not going to be doing, the informational, well, they are, but they're doing it in a virtual setting. And it's not as heavy loaded anymore, because I don't know if you guys remember last year, but they had quite a few events that they were doing to gauge interest. But since all that is being translated into a virtual format, it's going to be a little bit easier on them. And the election board pot was actually reduced as well. They had some money that they were usually going to use, but that's been cut by half as well, which I think is going to give them a lot more money that they need. But still, we left it just because, to give them a little bit more leeway.
I know, Mati or Naila Benet, I know that you're going to be working more closely with the multicultural organizations on campus. What are your thoughts on the reduction for the, I don't want to misname it, the student organization, the operations for student organization reduction? Organizational allocation, yes.
I do wonder, the previous concern, like how it's going to affect their willingness. I know even now, their inclination to be very proactive during this time is not as high as it usually would be in person. So I do wonder, like, if the budget cut will affect that or bring it down. But I do know that the student orgs who have been like very active during this time, I think it'll be fine because they have really taken advantage of the virtual space and learned how to use it without that that amount of money. So I think some will be fine, but we should keep an eye out for those who really don't know how to utilize the virtual space.
Yeah, I agree with Neil Benet a little bit on that. The fact that I guess most things are now virtual, so student orgs will need as much funds. But idea is, I guess, with the spring coming up, we don't know, maybe if things get a little better, they want to do more projects just in case, like not to cut too much from the budget.
Right, and I definitely agree with that. Hopefully that there's enough fluff area and ways that can be more helpful in the spring.
Yeah, to answer, there's definitely, I'm re-looking again at the number we calculated for how much orgs have spent. It's like literally, I'm doing quick math in my head. It's like pretty much 1/4 of that number, pretty much. So like I think there's more than enough fluff, And honestly, even now, like we're kind of trying to get more orgs to request money from us, honestly, and it's not been that much like requests coming in through Sahas, and Candace can like back me on this. But I think like we decided to not go under $50,000. That's one thing we said we didn't want to do. So we kept it at $50,000, but I think we should be fine.
Yeah, so just to expand on that, like Siri said, we did anticipate, we left some leeway in case we had an increased amount of things coming in. and that's why, it's the thing that we've allocated. We're probably not going to need that much, but it is a little bit more than what we've spent so far this semester, if that makes any sense.
I think my question would be more like towards the initiative fund. We haven't used any of it correct or very little, right? I thought
We've used we used through, how much was for menstrual products? $300?
Yeah.
Yeah, $300 for that. Has there been any more done?
I don't know if I should speak towards this now, but we are planning to allocate more with the expansion of adding dispensaries to um, initially 2,000, but that's a conversation to be had.
that's what I was kind of referring to because I knew that was coming, so I didn't know like what kind of reserves do we have for the initiative fund. Seeing that there's like a $2,000 cut, I believe. There's a cut to the initiative fund for next semester. So I was just wondering, just want to know like what do we have right now and how would that maybe affect it in the springtime.
What page is the initiative fund? I can't seem to find it.
You could just Command F if that works, or Control F.
Oh, smart.
Yeah,
That's
so
what
it
I
was
saw.
originally 11,000, and then we reduced it by 2,000. So now it's 9,572.
I think the other thing I wanted to slightly mention was like how we're talking about with the organizations trying to ask for money from us, stuff like that, and for like events. I feel like with the way the social climate is at this moment, with COVID-19 getting ever so worse at this point, I feel like it may get to a point where we may go back into a lockdown in a sense, and everything goes completely virtual. So I think it was smart to allocate more just in case, that doesn't happen. But at the same time, in my opinion, I feel like more than likely there's gonna be less of organizations asking for money, even more than the fall, based on what may happen in the springtime. But this is all hypothetical.
Yeah. I just want to hear Reese. Seeing this outside of SGA as a student yourself, what are your thoughts about having the student organization cut like this, in your opinion? Or maybe we can get back to it later. But yes, I totally agree with what you said, Julius. And I'm glad that we could all have this discussion overview. Are there any more discussion points anybody else would like to make? Okay, if not, is there a motion on the floor?
I move to approve JL 18-2021.
There's a motion.
Second.
There's 3 seconds. All right. So I again forgot to make a poll. So please, number of senators for, if you could type in aye in the chat. Okay, there we go.
Looks like we have 7 so far.
I believe we're missing a vote from Patrick, right? 8.
We have 8-4.
We have 8-4. I believe we're missing a vote from Patrick. Patrick, what do you vote for? If you're still with us. All right, going once, going twice. Okay, I'll just put in number of senators for as 8. There is 0 opposed. Whoa. 0 abstaining and 1 not present. And with that, the revised budget is approved through the Senate. Cool. Okay, let's move on to the next. We are actually ahead of schedule. I don't believe here is with us as of yet. So I would like to move on to the next 3 JLs. These are reconfirmation and reference to their stipend. Now that has been reduced, as well as less position. Instead of it being $430 initially, it would be $541. But everything is the same people that were confirmed, I believe 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. This is just in fixation with their stipend. Are there any comments about this stipend reduction? This is something that
It's a stipend increase.
It is
stipend increase.
Yes, the stipend increase. This is something that I personally wanted to, I referenced in our nominating committee because I didn't want to see a decrease in stipend as opposed to last year when the stipend was around $530. Oh yeah.
We see a problem with it since it's like they were cutting it. That was like 4 members, so I do think you should increase the stipend to reflect that, not as like less members, to just make sure it's like divided up evenly and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't really see a problem with this whatsoever.
Yeah, thanks, Julius. I agree. I feel like this is pretty cut and dry. If y'all don't have any other comments about the stipend increase, is there a motion on the floor?
I move to approve JL 20-2021.
There's a motion.
Second.
And there's a second. Okay. Number of senators for, please type in I in the chat. One, 2, 3, 9.
That's 9.
That's 9. Yay. Number of senators for is 9. Opposed is 0. Abstaining is 1. Not present is 0. And I believe that's all there is. Oops. Okay, and then this will be in front of the Finance Board tomorrow. And the same thing again, but with Mei Zhang. Stipend is the same, $541. Is there a motion on the floor?
Move to approve JL 22-2021.
All right. We got that, and then there's a second in the chat. Number of senators for, please type in I in chat. And I believe that is 9-4. Oops, 0 opposed. 0 abstaining. I don't know why I'm doing that. 0 not present, and this passes the Senate. And then same thing for, did I skip one?
Kai, it looks like you skipped Max.
Oh no, he's gonna kill me. No, he's not. Yeah, same thing for Max Mason, $541. Is there a motion on the floor? Or, yeah. Is there a motion on the floor?
I move to approve JL 21-2021.
Is there a second? Oh, I see a second in the chat. Number of senators 4. Please type in I in the chat. Just gotta knock these out of the park. 1, 2. I believe that's 9. 0 opposed, 0 abstaining, 0 not present. And with that, this passes Senate. Cool. Okay. We have the next SL for Naila Benet's written SL, but I don't believe we have enough time in 7 minutes due to our confirmation with here. So I propose that we review here's response, the one that she has written and collected, and possibly think of questions to ask here. Is that something that we are all comfortable with? I got a shirt from Mati. Yeah, from Nail Benet. And I can go ahead and read out. Oh, wait. All right, I'll go ahead and read out what here has wrote. This is Here Patel. She's currently a junior at UMBC pursuing a biochemistry BS with biomathematics minor. Plan on attending medical school after they graduate. And oh, speaking of the devil, here, welcome. I see that you have joined.
Hi, how are you?
We're doing great. We're just going over what you wrote to us. But however, since that you are here now, might as well just introduce yourself to the whole collective group.
Sounds good. Hi, I'm Here Patel. I'm a junior at UMBC, a biochem major and a biomath minor. And after graduating, I plan to attend medical school. And I'm extremely happy to be on the elections board. Thank you.
Thanks, Here. We'll just dive right into questions. Why do you feel this position best suits you as an election board member?
In the past, I have handled elections for a different bunch of clubs, and so I think that brings in a little bit of experience for me. And also, I've helped organize panels and chairs. I've been committee chair for my bio club, and I've worked in summer camps as a leader, so I know how to manage people or like correspond with people and communicate better with them. Also, I believe that like I'm not super biased, so I can control my opinions just to be fair when needed. I think that's it.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks, Here. And I see that Naila Benet has a question.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
I couldn't hear you.
Oh, I just have a question. So, how will you use your past experiences to better not only the position in election board, but as a whole during this virtual setting?
I can, since this fall was online and I was able to use my past experience in an online setting in my other club, which is Biocom, and I was able to organize a panel with speakers from Emory University, Hopkins, and University of Maryland School of Medicine. I think the same way I use those skills in a setting this fall, I can use it in the elections board, hoping that if I use the same techniques, I can get a better voter turnout this fall or the next spring. Sorry.
Perfect. Wendy, I see you have raised your hand.
Hi, welcome to Senate. I saw that you have a lot of things that you do on campus, that you're working for a lab, TAing, a peer mentor on Biocom and in Pre-Med Society. So I was wondering how you plan to balance all your time with all these extracurriculars, SGA, and your academics.
For me, I have been balancing my classes pretty well. In the past, I've been in these organizations since freshman year. So I think at this point, I have a well balanced, figured out schedule. But each semester, I take the first 2 weeks to sit down and adjust to these positions and the new classes as well. So I plan on doing the same in the spring.
Yeah, wonderful. I have another question for you. And since we are in an online format, do you have any ideas to increase voter turnout, or at least have some sort of way to engage students to vote in an online setting?
For me, when I was thinking about the elections, the past elections, I did not know when the election date was or what the time was. I think I only knew one person's name who was running because I saw it on the My UMBC page. So for me, if someone had reached out to me, it would have been easier for me to spread the word or maybe even vote myself. So for me, I would probably post it on social media, just because I know everyone's constantly checking social media in this online setting, and probably post weekly announcements on My UMBC. Or any other, like I can, even when I talk to people, I'd be like, oh, go vote, because that's the right thing to do.
Yeah, definitely. Social media is like one of the largest things for outreach in an online format because it is social media. So, yeah, thank you. Wonderful. Are there any more questions for here? Mana, I'd like to hear from y'all. Sorry, my phone keeps going off. I'm not sure why. If I just, um, okay. I don't think I'm hearing anybody so far. So, yeah, here. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we go into your confirmation jail legislation?
I just want to say I'm extremely excited for the upcoming elections board, because I've never done anything like at this level, so I'm excited to like do it at a bigger level than I'm used to.
Yeah, most definitely. And this is something really impacts um, all of us after Corona. Hopefully, Corona passes after the spring. So I will go ahead and share my screen again. Let's see. No, that's maximum. Okay. And this is for the confirmation of here, Patel. Stipend is 541. Yes, everything is right. Oh, except for that, I might have copied and pasted from Max's. I like to move to amend, so that way it's correct name.
Second.
Cool. So sorry about that here. When I was making this the other day, I just kind of copied and pasted from Max's. But here is right here. Correct. During the 2020-2021 academic year. There we go. Okay. Is there a motion on the floor? And as a reminder, please move to amend as approved.
Move to approve JL 19-2021 as amended.
There we go. Thanks, Wendy. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second. Julius. Okay. Same thing as before. If you could please, all voting members, please type in I in the chat. Including me. Okay, I believe this is everybody. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I counted 8.
Counted 8. I believe we're missing a vote from Mena. Mena, how do you vote? There we go. 9. So number of senators 4. I'll say 9. Opposed is 0. Abstaining is 0. Not present is 0. And with that, this passes the Senate. Congratulations here.
Thank you so much.
I believe the next step, if Sierra has not reached out to you yet, you'll be moving on to Finance Board for tomorrow. Today's the 7th. Okay. And yeah, after tomorrow, you'll be come for election board, and Caleb should be reaching out to you after that. But yeah, thank you here for coming, and you're more than welcome to stay, and you're also more than welcome to leave. It's all up to you if you want to hear about our lovely discussions. But congratulations and thank you. Okay, and we are very much ahead of schedule by 15 minutes. This is an SL that Naila Benet has proposed. And Naila Benet, the floor is all yours to explain in detail.
Okay, can y'all like hear and see me? Because sometimes WebEx is like. I'm assuming that's a yes.
We can
okay. Okay, so this SL I propose. I'm just gonna turn my camera off just in case it bugs. So basically what this SL is about is I want to start mandatory initiative workshops. I know we held one about a month ago and it got generally really good feedback, and I also enjoyed being a part of that. So what I wanted to do is do this because I found that although yes, we are, working as best we can in this environment for our initiatives, we aren't taking as much agency as I feel like we could have been taking. And in terms of that, I mean just like not putting as much work on, like, Bea and Candace are great advisors, but I feel like some of us, including me, I've been guilty of this too, have relied a little bit too heavily on them and their resource that they give us. And we're not taking the agency that we could be taking to really like help each other with our initiatives and to run our initiatives as Senate without, a lot of help from our advisors. So what these workshops would be like bi-weekly, maybe 2 hours, 1.5 to 2 hours, and it would be led by us. So essentially, we would be able to plan the structure of the meetings. We'd be able to decide like how we want to run the meetings, what avenues we want to use, and we'd be able to really critique and help each other with our initiatives. So the quality will improve and the rate of fruition will also improve, because as of now, we are critiquing each other's initiatives, but it really only happens in Senate meetings. And I feel like if we had ample time to really sit down and, tell someone, hey, like maybe if you take this part out, it could be done faster and you could have like, more positive outcomes, or if you put this part in, or like, hey, I know this person. So if we really were to take that agency and that step to help each other with our initiatives through those workshops, I think a lot of the problems we're seeing with our initiatives would be fixed. So if you guys have any questions, you could let me know.
Thanks, Naila, for having the engagement to even create and process this. I'm really thankful of it. And I heard a hand go up, and I'm not sure who. Maria.
Yeah, I think that this is a really good idea. So I see that it's bi-weekly and it's 2-hour initiative workshop. So is that going to be like a set schedule, or is it going to be changing like every 2 weeks depending on everybody's availability?
So I sent a Google form out to Kai and Wendy to send to you guys right now if this gets passed. So you guys can start filling out your availability and things that you'd like to see in the meetings. And then I will get back and like, if anyone wants to actually like help, like I said, the Senate would be running this. So if anyone in the Senate feels like they'd be interested in helping write agendas or helping with the structure of the meeting and running it, then I think that now would be the time to say so. We can start filling out that form and seeing what the best time for this would be.
Yeah, I personally would really love to help out. Because that was actually my second question, like how the structure of these meetings look like, because I don't want it to be like too repetitive as well. So yeah, thank you for answering that.
No problem, thank you. And like I said, I didn't say this actually, but in the third whereas the office hours, I feel like obviously the semester is coming to an end, so this won't be like a huge deal right now. But if there ever was a time where our initiatives were falling back significantly, then maybe the time that we were to have office hours, since we are virtual and it's not the same as like someone coming into your office, maybe we could try and work on, if your initiative is not where it needs to be at that time, then maybe during your office hour, that's the time you take to work on your initiative. That is obviously up to subject to change if you guys have a better idea of how to incorporate that. But for now, that's kind of like my idea of how that would be structured.
I see that Wendy had her hand up earlier.
Yeah, first of all, thank you for taking the initiative for putting this SL together. I would definitely be willing and able to run some of these because it's only 2 hours every 2 weeks. I think we can all invest that time considering we're supposed to be doing like, I think around 6 hours or more already for our initiatives. And I think this kind of structure would help us all get better. I also saw that Mena put a question in the chat. Do you think a bi-weekly meeting is necessary, or should we extend it to maybe once a month? I was thinking bi-weekly because if we really waited like once a month, I feel like we would not be making as much progress as we could, especially if we have multiple people who are able to run these, like me and Maria and anyone else.
Yeah, so like I said, the last time we had one of these, or the only time we had one of these, was about a month ago. And I will say, like, the workshop was very beneficial, but our initiatives did not really take off afterwards. And that's not to fault of anyone. It's just, if that were to happen more frequently, I think it would have been more beneficial to the rate of our fruition in terms of our initiatives and, how we're getting those things done and the critique of the initiatives. And like Maria and Wendy, thank you for saying you'd like to help out, because since it is bi-weekly, I know people's schedules change. So if we have, a small team of people who are willing to run meetings, then every Friday it could be run by someone else or something like that. So it won't have to be a very concrete structure, just as long as Senate shows up and we're willing to, take honest criticism and to really mold our initiatives into something that's most beneficial for Senate.
I just want to answer what Mana put in the chat, asking if this workshop should be added to the end of the Senate meeting. To add to that, 2 years ago, or when I was first a senator, the meetings would go on till 11 p.m. Because of that, we would work on our initiatives during Senate meeting. And then Richard came up and was like, hey, why don't we do this on our own time? And that's why meetings got cut down to 7 o'clock, 6:30. So I wouldn't be in favor of adding after our Senate meetings.
Yeah, and it's considering that we like are just getting the flow of having our meetings like starting on time and ending in a good amount of time, I think adding it to the end would, kind of erase all of that progress we've made this semester. In person, it could be different. I don't know. But so far, I think having the bi-weekly on Friday, it would be a way for us not only to like catch up, but just to make sure that we're staying in tune with our initiatives. And Friday is the day that the stipend review form is done. So like you'll get another reminder like, oh, why do this? Let me do this too. So it will just be a good way for all of us to come together and work on Senate.
When do you have your hand raised?
And it will be synchronous. Yeah.
So in terms of scheduling, do you think this would be like a week by week thing, or would we try to have regular hours? And also, we're actually thinking about doing one-on-ones for us. So if he could have one-on-ones with half of the senators, and then I would. Do you think that this would be more effective than that, since we could have more people join? Or do you think it would be a good idea for us to continue the one-on-ones in addition to these workshops?
Personally, I feel like. Also, can you repeat your first question after I answer this one, because it cut out in the middle? But I personally think that the workshop will be more. Not influential, but like it'd have a higher impact just because you will get multiple perspectives as opposed to just a one-on-one conversation. So like if you and Kai were to give a senator feedback, that feedback could be different from the other 13 senators who would attend the workshop, and like it'd be a more holistic approach to your initiative rather than a one-on-one. And I feel like that'd be more helpful, considering that we do sit here and look at everyone's initiatives every Monday anyway. So I would like to like keep that environment.
Thanks, that sounds great. And my first question was, are we scheduling these workshops kind of on an individual basis, or making them recurring at the same time and day of the week?
So once people fill out the Google form and I get a general consensus of what works best for everyone, I would like them to just be a recurring thing, kind of like how your one-on-ones would be a recurring every 2 Fridays. This obviously I don't think, for me, I have mine would be on Fridays, but I would like to get a general consensus first of where people's schedule lay. And if that does not work out, then we can just make it, a bi-weekly basis and try and make sure that everyone can come. For B's question, I honestly, for me, I don't feel like it would be, but on the other hand, I think this would be a good extension of Senate for this virtual space. Like, since we're going to be here for the remainder of the year, I don't think it'd be too much to ask for a bi-weekly meeting, just so that, and it can be up to 2 hours, it can be shorter than that. It's really just for us to have a space where Senate is working on our initiatives as senators, and we're taking that agency without, relying on anything else. And I feel like that space will be good for us. So if people feel like it would be too much for them, then obviously let me know. But I feel like a bi-weekly basis, it won't be too heavy. And Rashad, what was your question?
I was just wondering if there was a way that I could, if we could have executive branch officers that are also doing initiatives attend these workshops, because I feel like it could be very informational and helpful to them as well. So would that be possible, or do you want to just keep this a Senate thing?
Yeah, I think that would actually be good, because you've like brought executive branch into the conversation a lot in meetings, and I feel like it'd be good for all of us to get feedback from them as well. And I just want to reiterate that this would not be run by me or Candace. It would be strictly run by students in the Senate, just to make sure that we're really taking that agency and that step forward. Because I think that, like I said previously, like right in the beginning, I really feel like we're not utilizing our full potential as senators to make some things happen by ourselves and to reach out for that feedback that we can get from each other. So I really want this to be something that's student run.
I do want to voice something. There is one concern that I have, is the running of the workshop. I just don't want, I'm afraid that creating and running a workshop would take a time away from that person's initiative and working on that. I do realize the importance of having a workshop, though. That being said,
So for the structure that I like, yeah, so I came into this thinking that, I would be running this mainly, and if people wanted to help, they could. But I'm not planning on this being some like elaborate thing. I'm planning on it being like, we'll work on like, here's the goal for our initiative. Is our goal to find more context for the initiatives today? Is our goal to clean up our initiatives? That would be the goal for the meeting. And you just come into the WebEx or Zoom call or whatever we're going to use, probably WebEx, and we just sit there and we just go one by one through our initiatives. It won't be, a huge thing. It won't have like a rigid agenda or anything. It'll just have a goal for that Friday, and we'll try and work on each initiative's goal to clean it up a bit.
Okay. And I also noticed that it says mandatory. Is there any what's it called?
Repercussions.
That word. Is there any of that if a senator is unable to make in a workshop?
Just my only concern is, sorry, can I say something real quick? Is this, can we actually have this after our Senate meetings instead? Wait, Wendy said she can. I have a lot of other clubs and stuff I'm part of, and like basically things I have to commit more larger chunks of my time in during different days of the week, and I just don't want to like have another thing like during a separate week, because I've already left my Monday evenings free for Senate, for example, so I wouldn't mind staying later on like Mondays, but like having it and like bi-weekly doing that, but having it another chunk of time every 2 weeks. Is this like, for example, I could use those, I use Friday evenings to work, so because I don't usually have any other things to do. And I know like you sent out an availability workshop. I just feel like since we're already all here, and yeah, I don't know how everyone else feels about this.
So like on the Google form, I put time slots for like the morning, the afternoon, and very early evening, because I don't want to be on my computer past 7 p.m. either. Like sometimes I miss dinner through Senate meetings, so I really don't want to take up a lot of people's times. And like I said, it could be up to 2 hours, but at the same time, if we're just working on one goal, it could be maybe a 1 hour session. And I don't think like for my schedule bi-weekly, that isn't like a huge chunk of my time. But if you really can't attend, then maybe we could just like work something out if this gets passed. But as far as repercussions go, I don't really have anything in mind as far as like if you miss it. If you have a valid reason to miss it, then I don't think you should be punished for it. But if you just like don't show up, then obviously that's an issue.
Candace said in the
Yeah, Candace is right in the chat. It's very much just, a structured work time to provide accountability. And I think that's something that we need right now since we're not in person.
Maria has a question in the chat. If someone isn't able to make a meeting, who would they talk to?
Me. You could just email me or text me.
And
What's
so,
oh, sorry.
no, go ahead.
Like we're sort of putting this in legislation, but like, is there an end date on this? Is there like kind of what's like if we're to put it in like a legislative structure, there I feel like there should be a little more specific like detail. Like I'm definitely down for the idea. I like it. But like kind of what's like the termination date, or like do we continue this when we're back in person? Is it just for online learning? Like what's the kind of like the nuance of it?
All right, so I'm glad you brought that up, because that's something that I wasn't sure if I wanted to put on the document or not, or just run by you guys, because this is mainly coming up because of the virtual setting. Like we're just not having the same capability and resources that we would have had in person. So if you guys think that this is something that you really only would like to participate in through this virtual setting, like through the end of spring, then like we can put an end date on it. And if we really need it back in person, then obviously we can start it back up. But I really feel like we need this now just because of this virtual environment. So I am totally open to making it temporarily for this year.
If that's the case, I think we should amend it and add such language to the legislation.
Okay.
I also have another question. So you said you would be kind of managing this whole process. However, you would also want other senators to participate in going about this workshop. So who would be what's the system like for the person running the workshop be like?
Like their role.
Yeah, like who would be managing it throughout the entire process?
Mainly since this was something that like I brought into Senate, I think I would be the one mainly taking care of logistics and things like that. But like I said, the meetings aren't going to be a rigid, complicated structure. It really just the people who want to help out, or if you think you'd be interested in, taking every like other Friday and like we would rotate. It's really just facilitation at the end of the day. So if you're able to facilitate a conversation smoothly, if you're able to provide positive feedback and provide concrete feedback to things in a structured manner and something that's comprehensible to everyone, then like this would be something that you are able to do. But it really isn't going to be a complicated situation. Like I would plan the meetings and I would set the goal, or we would talk every meeting about what our goal is for the next meeting coming forward. And that would pretty much be it. It's really just facilitation at the end of the day. It won't be something very complicated.
Okay. Wendy, you have your hand up?
Yeah, what was the rationale behind not requiring office hours? Because it says that temporarily be on hold. Do you know how long that would be and why we wouldn't have both the workshops and office hours for student outreach?
Yeah, so I addressed this briefly earlier, but I might have been talking too fast now I'm thinking about it. That I might need to word that differently, but really what I meant by that was if there was a time where your initiative specifically, like not you specifically, but your initiative was really behind schedule and you're just not at the point where you need to be for that week, then your office hour times, like if you're someone who genuinely like doesn't have anyone come to office hours, I know nobody ever comes to mind, then that time during the office hours would be used to work on your initiative since you already have that time blocked out. But that's only if, your initiative is really just like falling behind and you haven't had significant progress or you're struggling with something. And Rashad is the sponsor. So Rashad, do you have anything to add or if you have any questions?
No, I was just I'm trying to dip my toes out of the Senate a little bit. So, Mela Vinay, if y'all have any questions, it's all Mela Vinay.
I want to hear the opinions that who haven't spoken up yet. So Z, Mati, even Reese, if you'd like to chime in, I'd like to hear your thoughts.
Kai, I see that Julius has his hand up.
Oh, Julius, yes, sorry.
Yeah, just I guess Patrick kind of started off on this because that's what the big thing I was thinking about is just sustainability of this. How long is it supposed to be happening? Since it's just a virtual session, theoretically, let's say next, in the sense of like legislation, it's going to be in the bylaws or whatever stuff like that. It's just mandatory for next Senate per se. You know what I mean? Like. And also reflected to your question, Kai, when you're talking about like structure, stuff like that, can this be duplicated? Can anyone just walk in and do this since this will be a mandatory initiative workshop? So this isn't just for us, this is for the future. So with that,
yes. So to address the first part of your question, like I said again, I mainly came up with this because I've realized that in this virtual space, we do not have the same resources and accessibility. Like, yes, we have some, but if we were in person, I really don't think we'd be having this problem right now. Like, we address it almost every meeting. So that's why I came up with this SL, because I feel like for the time being, this would be a good way for us to just really crack down. So if you guys like I know since Patrick brought it up, like if you guys really feel like you want to amend this and put a stop date on it for now, then I'm totally fine with that because it is mainly for a virtual space. And if you guys feel as if you want this to continue in future Senates, you can. I do feel like in person this would be almost unattainable. So that's why, I really think it'd be good for the virtual setting. So throughout spring, and then we could just put a cap on it. If that answered everything.
Yeah, that's fine. I just wanted to just make sure that we just talked about it.
Naila Benet, when were you thinking of starting this series of workshop?
I'm thinking after Christmas.
Okay, yeah.
That way, like, I can get the responses in and people can, enjoy their break and focus on exams. And then by the time that's over, then, like, we start classes, I think, the 26th. So, after New Year's, we can just start, like, slowly easing into this. And by the semester start, it'll be already, something that we're used to doing. So,
most definitely. And I'm not sure when our winter retreat is. If we have one, do we have a winter retreat this year? Because I was thinking maybe we could do that after the winter retreat too.
That is a point of discussion in the steering committee meeting this week, correct, Rashad?
Yes.
Neat. Okay. As long as it doesn't impose on your time for your initiative, Naila Benet, because I don't want this to restrict your time for doing your initiative. This sounds like a very well structured way of implementing what Candace said earlier, implementing initiatives going forward. So
thank you. So does anyone else, like someone who hasn't spoken up yet? Because I know this is, like a big change to schedules and things like that. So please, if you have any concerns or anything, like now would be a good time to let me know before, it's too late.
Could I say one thing, Kai?
yeah, sure.
I do want to say that since this is a legislation and it indicates that it's mandatory, if you do say aye for this, then you are obligated to, move on with this, and you are responsible for attending these workshops. I just wanted to make that clarification.
Right. That's something that I mentioned earlier about the whole mandatory situation and how there's what the repercussions are. And I'm assuming it would be SRC repercussions.
Yeah, because having an initiative as a senator is, an extension of our job. And since that would be an extension of that, it would make sense.
Candace.
And for Monty.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, Candace can go.
Okay. Yeah, just to expand on Kai's point around SRC, I would consider this for all intents and purposes an initiative, right? Like some people's initiatives end up being part of like being the Senate itself, or some sort of inner working of the Senate. That is not uncommon. So I would say that when we are doing SRCs, we would look at people's attendance, senators' attendance on this, and it would be marked in. There's a line in there called like supporting and attending of SGA initiatives. So that's where I think this would sort of fall in.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Mati, I'm planning on having these on Fridays. And Wendy or Kai, could you send out the Google form link like in the chat so people can get an idea of, the time slots?
Yes, I have it right here. Is that me? how to hang out? Okay. All right, my computer's all messed up now. Oh, I see two hands. Oh no. Okay, I think my computer returned back to normal. Yes, I see two hands. Maria, do you have you have your hand up?
Yeah, I was wondering, so like what if the majority of senators they can make one day, but somebody else like has a conflict that they just like I know like they can go and talk to you, but I was wondering if they could do anything to like make up for the time that they missed during the workshop. So like everybody like they're holding themselves accountable to that.
Concern.
Just like to clarify, you're saying like they can't meet like any of the Fridays, like they just the schedule doesn't work, or they just like miss one and they want to keep up with what happened?
Both. Yeah.
Well, if you can't attend like Fridays at all, then I guess you should just vote no, so that you're not like putting your name on the docket to say like you're obligated to go. And if it gets to like if you miss like one meeting, I'm pretty sure like if you just email me, like we can just find a way to like just either have a short call or something where I can keep you updated on what happened. But honestly, like I said, this is just it's not going to be super structured. So if you do miss that meeting and your initiative is like fine, like you don't really need like that extra boost, then you can just we can decide like whether you need to like be cut up or if you can just attend the next one and be fine. It really will be case by case at that point. But if you look at the Google form and you feel like you can't attend any of those times, then I would recommend not like putting yourself in the position to be obligated to attend.
Okay, that sounds good.
Wendy. Oh, no problem. Wendy, 2 workshop time slots. So like 2 times a week or like two possible weeks.
Yeah, like if Fridays don't work for some people, or if we don't have enough people where we're all available at the same time, could we just like make it so that maybe half of the people do one time and then half do a different time? Like, do all of us need to be in the same workshop?
That's what I prefer most. Honestly, I don't want to jump into doing like too many different times before I have the responses from the forum, just because it might overcomplicate things. But if the form comes back and it seems like that's what needs to happen, then I'll definitely like if you want to help me work on that to find 2 possible scheduling times. But for now, I prefer just the one, so we can get more holistic feedback on that day.
I definitely hear you, and I think that it is important to like have everyone kind of in the room at the same time for this kind of thing. But also like I mean, when you look at like senator schedules and SGA schedules, it's like our calendars are really full. So I think finding like an exact time for 12, 14 people to all meet kind of at the same time is going to be really, really difficult just because everyone sort of has those very conflicting schedules. And we already sort of all have this one time or on Mondays where it's like we're all together already. So I do wonder if it would be best to kind of run a little late on Mondays. Even I do understand that like it's hard to like get dinner and stuff like that. Like I definitely I know I struggle with that too. But it's like we being a senator, part of that is you have Monday nights free. Like that's kind of what we all agree on when we sign up and decide that we want to run for elections. So
Yeah, so definitely. I'm just going to repeat what I said. Like before we get into, I want to see, who is available. And if, the overwhelming majority is available on Fridays, then there will be no issue. But if we run into that issue, then I will take the time to coordinate and find another time to do it. But on the other hand, like running late on Mondays, I mean, is the majority of Senate feeling that way, that we want to stay here an extra hour to do initiatives? Like if you guys are, then you can say that now, but I don't really feel like that's a general consensus to stay here an extra hour.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, fair enough.
Candace, I noticed your hand was up.
That was from before, sorry. That was from before, sorry.
Oh, okay. So with that being said, are there any more discussion points anybody else would like to make? Okay. This was a wonderful discussion, and hearing more information about this, I'm all for it. So, is there a motion on the floor?
Oh, we need to amend. To put a cap date. First of all, is that something that you guys want, a cap, like an end date for this?
Personally, I would like to amend for a cap date, mostly because I don't want to set a precedence post-COVID, hoping that the upcoming fall is, COVID goes away. Not all the way, but you know what I mean. We're in person fall, so I do want to set a cap date.
Okay, so I saw in the chat a week before finals in May. I like that idea too. Does anyone know exactly what week that is?
That is the first week of May, I believe.
Okay, so we can amend that and say, for the therefore be resolved, mandatory from the date of passage forward until the week of May 1st, or And Wendy also privately messaged me and said that they'd like to amend the office hour language to make it more clear as to what exactly that means. So we can say in the event that initiatives are, I don't want to say unsatisfactory. in any other word, that means like behind or like not up to date, then office hours will temporarily be on hold.
You said not up to date?
Like if there's a wording to say
stagnated?
Yes. Yeah. In the event that initiatives are stagnated, office hours will be temporarily. Yeah.
Should it be temporarily be put on hold or just on hold?
Put is fine.
GRE word of the day, stagnated. All right. Okay. Is there any other amendments you would like to discuss about? Okay. If not, is there a motion on the floor as amended?
I move to approve SL 31-2021 as amended. Second.
And there's a second. And I created a poll this time. So voting members, please vote in the poll. I'm not sure what that means. Meta, you requesting to annotate. I don't know what that means. I press decline because I don't know what that means. I believe we're missing one person.
Kai, could it be you? Because you can't vote in your own poll.
Oh, you smart. 6, 7, 8. No, we're still missing one person, even if I vote.
I can't get the poll to come up. It's not showing up for me.
Oh, okay. Do you mind typing in the chat or just vocally speaking it? If
I abstain.
you abstain? Okay. So we have number of senators 4. We have 6, including myself. Opposed is 1. Abstaining is 2. And there's 0 not present. And with that, this SL passes the Senate. And Nail Benet, and I will email this out later tonight. And we'll work on towards managing workshops in the future. But congratulations. Okay. That being said, let's go to initiative updates. And Julius, do you mind starting off? Julius, if you're there. I don't know for us.
Julie said, give me a sec so I can go instead.
Okay.
So for mine, I was planning to meet with Corey Harbin, who's the president of Pan-Hellenic Association, so that we could talk about the Grit Starter and the Amazon wish list to Greek life. And I guess this will wait mostly till our meeting tomorrow, but the possibility of designing more outreach on Canva, since comms isn't gonna give our requests for the Grit Starter.
Yes. Yes, definitely. We actually have a question about that, Candace, but I'll let Maria explain it when it's her time to shine. Mati.
Okay, so about the Google form that I was working on, I shared it with Courtney and Tori, and so I got feedback from Courtney. So she said there's some stuff that needs to be edited. So I'm meeting on Thursday to go over the Google form and adjust it, and then I think after this week I'm gonna start working on my commuter initiative.
And is the commuter initiative the transportation one?
Yes.
Okay. And have you reached out to oh shoot, what's his name? From Transit?
I'm gonna reach out to him like Monday, just because this week is my exam week. I only had one like free day, so just reach out to him on Monday.
Yeah. Okay. I'll follow up with you on the person to contact in Transit. I can't think of the name off the top of my head for some reason. I love it too. But I'll definitely reach back out. Mario.
So first off, I just wanted to reiterate because I haven't really talked about it in a while. So like my third initiative, which was about like bringing workshops regarding STEM resources and like opportunities for scholarships to different STEM conferences, is like it's complete. So it's just going to be like the logistics are just going to be sorted out because it's going to happen next semester. But aside from that, I've been like meeting with the UHS back and forth since our last meeting, and I'm going to be for this like last week regarding the survivors advocate position, since it'll be housed there hopefully. And then the question that I had for Candace is, I was talking to marketing, and Saiba told me that she was told by Calista and Michelle that they're not allowed to promote fundraisers, but they said that like I would have to like go and like ask you directly about it to get approval. So that's where we are with that.
Sure. So is this about the Grit Starter and the Amazon wish list? It all sort of comes into, yeah. So my understanding is that communications was meeting, and Ben Clark, who serves in communications, but also serves in SCB, brought up that SCB had been told that they could not do wish lists or grid starters to raise money for projects because it sort of circumvents the budgetary process that they go through, and that he was wondering if that applied to SGA. And I was like, that's an excellent question. I had not heard of that. And so I brought that up to my supervisor, Jen Dress, who is the associate director for Campus Life, and she shared that she vaguely remembers something like that, but was going to do more research on it and get back to me. And so I asked her that last Wednesday. I have a meeting with her on Wednesday, this Wednesday, where I will bring it back up. And so my understanding from communications was that they were going to sort of press pause on that project for you all until they heard back from me, who's waiting to hear back from Jen, basically. So I would say we shall see. I understand the logic behind it. It's also like, I don't know, I think it's something that was decided before my time, before any of our times, when GridStarter first came to be, and they're like, well, what would stop SCB from having a GridStarter on there to raise money to bring Beyonce? Like, that's sort of the argument, but again, I think the logic makes sense based on, like, you have a budgetary process and wanting to do that. I know you would, Rashad, donate to bringing Bay to campus, as would many students, and that's so that's sort of where we are on that. We're sort of in a holding pattern for it, and I think we just have to wait and see what they say. If they say yes, if it is that you actually aren't allowed to use GridStarter or do like drives like that, that would I'm trying to be serious on this. Stop it. Then that would just mean we have to that you would have to recalibrate a little bit. But I would be interested to know, like, the difference from them between like a food drive and an Amazon wishlist drive. But that's neither here nor there. So that's where I would push on it. If we're given the guidance that no, you can't do those kinds of things.
Oh, sorry, you can go ahead.
I did want to ask if we are allowed to post this on our personal social media without any associations with the SGA logo.
For what?
Attached.
For what?
For creating a graphic for GridStarter and
but the GridStarter is going to SGA, right?
Oh, true.
Yeah.
So
that's what we're waiting to hear back on.
Okay.
Now, GridStarter, like the people who do GridStarter, probably should have stopped us and you, right? Because you met with some people and sort of talked through this, and they just let you do it. So they probably should have stopped it. But that's okay. We learn. We live and we learn. So.
Okay.
We'll see what they say.
Lumi, please reach back to us if you're seeing this.
And I think Rashad had a question in the chat.
Yes. Sorry. Yes.
Yeah, I actually had two questions. One was if it's a problem of us asking students for money, couldn't we tailor it to alumni or some of the people that are not affiliated with UMBC in a way? I know that some of the Great Starters are directly tailored to alumni and asking them for donations, so I'm not entirely sure if that was an avenue. And then my second question is, if this is going to be something that's ultimately going to be housed under Res Life, would they be able to start a Grid Starter for students?
I don't think Res Life would need to start a Grid Starter. I think Res Life I think an avenue that this initiative could pursue is asking for co-sponsorship from Res Life, I muted myself on purpose. But we can talk about it offline. I do think that Res Life could be a great partner in this from both an operational and a financial support.
Yes, and I can speak more about it, but I do want to move on to Mena. If you could give us your update.
Hi, so I'm still I'm partnering up with the Office of Sustainability and some students from the Maryland Student Climate Action Coalition to discuss. They had wanted to include me in one of their initiatives, so I was going to be the SGA rep on that and see what I can do to help. And we were supposed to have a meeting this week later on. And yeah, that's basically all I have for now.
Okay. I would recommend reaching out to, oh gosh, the director of sustainability. I don't remember if there's a new person in charge, but I remember it was Dr. Susan Brown.
No, I'm in contact with both Ryan and Aaron.
Ryan.
Sorry, Ryan and I forgot her name. Oh my god. But it's okay. I'm in contact with both of them, and they're the ones who also introduced me to the Maryland I can't ever get it. Student Climate Action Committee. Yeah.
Wonderful. Yes.
So,
It's what I was gonna.
I just say MSEC.
Oh, okay. Yes, MSEC.
Perfect. Yeah, thanks, Mena. Nail Bene, I know that you mentioned that your current initiative is put on pause until January.
Yes, so I got a hold of Joshua again, and my survey is being sent out to the cultural orgs next week, which is right on track for where I want it to be, so I can collect the responses over break and start it back in January. So I'm good for now.
Oh, wonderful. Congratulations on your survey. Going back to you, Mena, Rashad asked in the chat if anything happened regarding the lights that are in the vacant buildings.
This is so awkward. I don't think I ever followed up on that. I did not realize I was supposed to. Yeah. Let me. The things I'm off campus now. I don't know. Is this? It's probably still on. Actually, I don't know because now campus closed down.
Most likely. I don't want to assume, but
anyone who passes by there, let me know and I can refollow on that. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no worries. There was no expectation. I don't even know who you would reach out to, but
I guess
we'll figure it out after our meeting.
Okay.
Sustainability is a good start. Maybe mentioning that to Ryan also.
Oh yeah, actually, yeah, I'll mention it to him.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Wonderful. Thanks, Patrick.
Hey, one of the things that I'm going to be working on for next week, or I guess for this week now, is reaching out to some peer institutions that I know have had successful Greek LLCs. I'm just kind of seeing how they were instituted. I reached out to 2 back in like October, and no one ever got back to me. So I think this week what I really want to focus on is like trying to reach out to at least 4 or 5. And kind of really trying to like follow up with those and maybe reach out to like more than one person at each institution to see how it goes. So I'll definitely keep updated on that. But I'm kind of hopeful that'll get some good results. So
Yes, definitely. And when writing your proposal, creating your proposal, having comparative peer data definitely boosts the probability of success. I don't know how else to word it, but if Patrick, if you're not familiar already, I can post this link into the chat about the list of UMBC's peer institutions, like current and aspirational peers. And
great, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, most definitely. And let me know if you need help reaching out to people because I've also ran into that same trouble of not getting information back from those universities or them being quiet and kind of have to fish around for it. But let me know if you need help with that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, most definitely. Thanks, Patrick. All right, Z.
I finally got a hold of someone affiliated with FDB. They told me to wait because the executive board, they'll get them to contact me, but I'm still waiting. I'm expected to hear from them by tomorrow, or else I'm going to start sending more emails.
Right. And this is in regards to
like
collaboration.
Yeah, the game night, like the game night during winter semester.
Yeah. Do you have you brainstormed any good ideas for what this event could look like or like which game?
Well, I know Among Us is like the big popular like multiplayer one right now.
Yeah. Yeah, doing yeah, I would be mindful with Among Us because there is a cap limit of 10 people per game for Among Us unless you break it up into different groups. So that is one thing to be mindful about, but definitely.
Yeah, I'm gonna think about that. Maybe we'll have like multiple like people from either SGA or SCB and doing multiple games.
I do have a question about the efficiency. How would mental health awareness be tied with Among Us? How would you get that to coagulate? Is that a word?
Well, I want to do like I'm thinking of creating like maybe a Discord server just for this like event, and so it'll be like multiple channels and like or places where people can discuss classes. Like we'll have like little pop-ups with like channels dedicated to giving mental health advice and stress advice, like advice for dealing with the next semester with COVID and stuff like that.
Okay, so you're using this as like a way to get people to sign up for this server.
Yeah.
Okay. And Rashad asked in the chat, how is Together all coming along?
The meeting for that is Wednesday. I'm going to talk, and that's the next health and counseling meeting, and I'm going to get the updates from Bruce there.
Okay. But in your opinion, does it seem like it's going to become more into fruition in the spring?
It should be ready before spring break unless I hear differently, but from everything I've heard, it should be ready by then.
Oh, wonderful. Great. Well, thank you, Z. It sounds like you have an idea and census of what to do with SEV, and that's wonderful. Yeah, thanks, Z. In terms of some updates from me, Wendy and I, we did meet with ResLife, and we are, as we're formalizing our proposal, asked about how much they are considering to allocate. And so the proposed allocation money is about $300. So with that being said, our next steps is creating an MOU with RSA and ResLife to contribute the $300. Mirsha, you and I, we both discussed about the approximate number of people within these buildings, and it turns out 50 is the approximate number per building. Right now, it's 100 students per building, and assuming that half are going to be using this initiative, participate in this initiative, it'll be around 50. So the number checks out, and the data we have for approximate figures, 2.3K for 5 dispensaries and stock, and that's a one-time payment for the dispensary. So after that, continuing, it would be 1.2K. And if RSA is allocating $300 approximately, that means SGA would be paying a yearly amount of $900, $9 to $1,000 for a yearly thing, and hopefully, Rashad, we can meet up together with Siri to propose a line item, an additional line item to the next FY budget. Have the brands been picked out yet? Yes, we'll be using OntFlow. and we'll also be reaching out to other companies that Dr. Jess Myers has recommended for. They give out free samples, and that's what their stock has been comprised of, those free samples. However, that was years and years ago. So currently we don't know about if they're currently doing free samples, but that is another alternative in terms of free stock. Cool. Are there any questions? Asking professionals for their advice on their best friends. Yes, most definitely. Dr. Jess Myers is a big advocate and supporter for our initiative. The buildings we were going to recommend using was the ACC, Potomac Hall, Patapsco Hall, as those three are the most widely used buildings. And depending on where we are with the budget, expanding that to 2 other residential halls. Cool. Okay, that was it for me. That was a lot. I'm sorry for that. But are there any questions for anybody before we move on to shared governance?
We didn't go over my update. Well, just slightly.
Oh, Julius, I'm sorry. Yes, please.
Yeah. The proposal is there. I tried to basically copy the template that we have for the free menstrual products. It's under my name in like the Senate initiative ideas, I think it's called, file. Feel free to look at it, roast it, critique it. It's not as detailed as I want it to be, but that will become more detailed as this week goes on, because after I'm done with finals, I can 100% focus and like pour all my effort into the proposal and stuff like that. And then from there, just really refining it so I can send it to faculty senate and admissions.
Mm-hmm.
So we can begin having those meetings, hopefully before Christmas or whenever they stop working. But that's not, if versus comes to stuff and I don't get those meetings in time right after New Year's, like with January 3rd when everyone comes back or something like that. That's what I'm really going to be focusing on. Just trying to like just start having meetings after the proposal is completely refined and all the kinks are ironed out.
Yeah, most definitely. Where is this proposal in the initiative folder?
It should be an initiative photo under my name and then my name.
Oh, thanks. Rashad linked it in the chat. We'll be sure to take a look, and I'll add any comments if I see any recommendations that I should that I have. But wonderful. One thing I do want to mention is make sure to add what your brother's institution has been doing, because the data from that shows more progressive intuitions on like, oh yeah, this is, if other people are doing it, we should start doing it too, kind of thing, extending on pure data.
I have that name mentioned, but I don't have anything necessarily linked to their website or anything like that. I'll talk to my brother about that.
Yeah, most definitely. I would recommend doing that. But looks like you're doing good strides. Thanks, Julius. Share Governance Committee updates. I do have an update. Well, I'm not entirely sure if I should be able to speak upon it because it was the university steering committee. Rashad, if
Were you told it's embargoed?
it was more about it was more about what the university's budget is at currently and expected budget.
Oh, no, that's fine. You can go ahead.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay. Basically going to be a significant loss. I was unable to type it because they were going so fast. But
Did they say how much?
It was 42 million, correct? Rashad?
I thought it was a 64 million deficit. I'm not entirely sure, but it's a lot.
It was a lot, and they were going very fast, and they were saying words that I did not know. But yes, and they're expecting fewer a decline in student enrollment. So that's part of the reason why there's going to be a larger deficit. And that's essentially the main thing I got out of University Steering Committee.
Could I expand on the enrollment part a little bit more?
Yeah, of course.
So what we are seeing right now is that we're losing freshmen for this semester specifically compared to previous years. A lot of the freshmen that were originally registered for fall, there's around 700 of them, if I'm not mistaken. 600 to 700 of them have not yet registered for spring yet, and that's a little bit concerning. But if you all have friends, or if you could talk to your networks and encourage people to register if they want to, I think that would be beneficial.
Yeah. It's to be expected during a pandemic, and it's totally understandable why so. And that was a tough conversation that I had to have with many people when I was in OPA. So yes, definitely reach out to them. Are there any more shared governance committee updates?
So I attended the student fee advisory committee, and while the students actually haven't made, we still have to review. We decided to meet in 2 weeks because of finals, to go over everything again and see what we decided on. There has been a couple of changes to the student fees. I know technology has been cut, and so has the athletic fee, but I think a couple others, like the technology fee, has increased, as in they've asked for more money, but I think only by 100 or 2, if I remember correctly, to support what they have planned. But when I meet up with the students again in 2 weeks, I'll let you guys know, or whenever we meet next, I guess. Is this our last meeting of the semester?
Yes, this is our last meeting of the semester.
Oh, never mind.
If you could keep us updated in the WebEx chat.
Okay, yes, that will work. Yeah. We all decided to meet later this weekend. Go over everything that more.
Yeah. Great, thanks, Mena. Are they aware of the? Well, I guess it's going to be going towards finance board, but are they aware of the possible fee reduction from SGA?
Yeah. Oh, I'm pretty sure they are.
Okay.
I want to say that.
So
I would.
That forum was just to give a basic understanding on what it was. It's for whether you are going to increase or decrease your fees for the following years. And if I'm mistaken, it's going to be implemented 2 years from now. So the reduction that we made right now is not a point of conversation for that group. They're talking about the addition or reduction in the fees that are going to be implemented in 2 years from now.
Mm-hmm.
4 years from now, right?
1 year.
1 year?
1 year from
1
now.
year from now.
Yours is the only fee that is has a proposal increase window of 2 years from now. Everybody else's is 1 year from now. So when SGA proposes an increase, it takes into effect 2 years after it proposes an increase. But when everybody else proposes an increase, it happens the following year.
Interesting. I didn't know. Yeah, thanks for the information and update, Mena.
All right. When I know more in depth, I will let everyone know.
Yes, most definitely. Thank you. Okay. We'll definitely be on the lookout for it. Are there any more shared governance committee updates? I don't hear any objections, so we'll move on ahead with announcements. I was told by Leslie to extend the Grit and Gratitude virtual holiday celebration. Since it is virtual, they've extended for anybody to join, and that invitation also extends to students as well. So I included the link to here as to their MyUMBC about it, and it's more of like a get together, a celebration of what we all accomplished in this fall term, and they were very eager and excited about it.
Please come. It's going to be fun. Well, I can't promise that, but it's going to be something.
Fun. Okay. And next announcement that I had was our senator vacancy application. I linked the application here below. So if you know anyone interested in the Senate seat, please let them know this application. I don't know if y'all have noticed by now, but unfortunately, Emmanuel is no longer with us in Senate. And if you would like to know the reasons why, I would recommend contacting him for information on that. But yeah, are there any announcements that anybody else has? Okay, I don't see anything, so I'm going to move forward. And I will adjourn the meeting at 7:42 p.m. I apologize for being off time by 8 minutes. I can't do math quick. And I'll start recording.